Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And I know this is a different backdrop, but I completed a game playthrough, which was a request. I'm moving the info to a USB thing, then I'm going to put it on my computer so I can edit this stuff together. Get it from my PS4. I figure while I'm waiting for that, I would do a review. And this is a paid request for Elijah. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, whether it be a topic, commentary, review, re-review, video game playthrough for an hour, a full playthrough, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it and I'll get to it as soon as I can. PayPal is usually the best way to send it. I do have a CashApp as well. All links are down below in the info box. Now, the Choirboys from 1977, I believe, give or take. Trying to remember the exact year. It's in the late 70s, and I had never heard of the film before. It's the guy who wrote the novel is based on. I know he wrote a few novels that became films. I think one was The Onion Field. One was one called The Glitter Dome, which I had always heard of that film because it was on the VHS tape of First Blood. And after the tape, there'd be all these trailers for films like Not for Publication with Nancy Allen and the guy from An American Werewolf in London, David Naughton. And then there was one called The Glitter Dome with like James Garner and John Lithgow, Margot Kidder. Had never seen them. They was like made for HBO. Anyway, this was based on this guy's novel, and apparently he hated the movie. Because the movie is directed by the guy who did The Dirty Dozen. I guess they both have very different takes on cops. For what I understand, I never read the book, but the book, The Choirboys, was much more respectful, perhaps, on cops. Gave them a bit more, I don't want to say leeway, but was trying to be a bit more serious on what cops go through. But then I guess the director, he helped rewrite the script, and he's, people don't like cops, but I didn't really change anything, so if he complains about it, but there's some stuff I disagree with. Apparently there's a big tug of war, and from then on, the guy who wrote the novels, he was much more adamant and much more picky on his books being made into films. And when this film came out, it did not do well. It got blasted by critics. It got blasted by... And we don't need this on. It got blasted by audiences. And the thing is, when you look at the cast is insane in this. This is the cast. Charles Durning, who I remember from the original When a Stranger Calls and the sequel. He was in Sharky's Machine with Burt Reynolds. He's been in a lot of stuff. Charles Durning, an older, capable actor. Gossett Jr., before An Officer and a Gentleman, The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren, which I remember him the most for, Iron Eagle. He was in this. James Woods, before Videodrome, before Cop, John Carpenter's Vampires, Any Given Sunday, plenty of other films. Perry Teen, who would go on to star in Class of 1984, which is a good film. Stephen Mott, who would be the dad in the Monster Squad. He played Warwick in Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. We're going to get you a Star Search. Randy Quaid, before National Lampoon's Vacation and Christmas Vacation and Independence Day. Burt Young, Paulie from Rocky. Some said going... there's an Asian guy that I recognize. He was a guy who Lloyd Bridges puked on in Hot Shots Part 2. He was a cop in Turner and Hooch with Tom Hanks. He's appeared in a couple other movies. And so I'm sitting there going, this is a stacked cast. How come I had never heard of this film before? Till I saw the film, and I did it. Because this film sucks. Which is a shame. Because, okay, imagine if Police Academy, those films, imagine if people actually got killed in those films. because of how stupid the cops were. Like, imagine Mahoney and or Bobcat Goldthwait, Michael Winslow, they're doing the silly stuff, and then people are actually getting killed and murdered, and it's a cover-up, and oh, it's still goofy and silly, even though we covered up a murder. That's the tone of this film. It is completely schizophrenic. There are times where it's trying to be goofy and silly, like Police Academy before Police Academy, where they're playing pranks on each other. But it's a lot more mean-spirited. That's the thing, it's a lot more mean-spirited. Where Charles Durning pulls the panties off of a woman in a pool. She then goes to her room, and another guy goes under this like glass table to look up her skirt, her towel. And of course she freaks out and is pissed, but we're supposed to be, ha ha ha, it's so funny. It'll go from a silly scene where all the cops can't get their patrol cars out. So they're all arguing, no, I'll go over here, I'll go over there. But then it'll have a scene where Randy Quaid and this other cop, and the other cop, I forget the actor's name, but his character name is Roscoe. There's a jumper, and Roscoe's like, well, come on, you got your audience, why don't you do it, huh? Why don't you do it? And then the girl does jump. And Randy's a bit horrified, but the other guy's like, whatever. And it never pops up again. It's not like Randy goes up to James Woods or Charles Durning and goes, this guy did this, and no. We just forget about it, never to be talked about again. Or it's just this series of scenes loosely put together because there's really no plot. There's really no arc. There's really no story. It's just, oh, here's James Woods and his racist, abusive partner who, at one point, there's Mexicans and black people arguing with each other. Roscoe makes fun of both. And then both of them team up to beat the shit out of Randy Quaid and the cop. And I'm like, good, they deserve it. Randy Quaid deserves it because he does nothing about what his partner's doing. Roscoe deserves it because he's a piece of trash person. And sometimes, like, some of these actors disappear. Like, Gossett Jr., he's in it for a little bit. You see him, like, playing cards with all the other people in a party. But then he, like, disappears for most of the film until, like, the very end of the movie. Where he pops back up. Which I thought was strange. Like, he's near the beginning, then he, in the complete middle, he just disappears. And he pops at the very... Same with Charles Durning. He kind of disappears for a huge... Because then... Like, the movie's going, and then all of a sudden, it's Burt Young... Well, it's James Woods, this guy with glasses, Don Stroud, and Perry Teen. The three of them go to Vice to meet with Burt Young. Which Burt Young is the best part of this movie. He is to be... I mean, it's interesting to see all these actors together. So you say that's the best part too, but Burt Young is really the only one I kind of gave a crap about, because really he's the only one with a heart on his shoulder. And he's the only one that got laughs out of me. He was the only one I thought was funny. Like, Burt Young sees James Woods and he's like, you don't look big enough to fight, fuck, or run a foot race. Or it's like, if you get yourselves hurt, don't break your arm. And then he has like this crazy laugh with the cigar, and it makes James Woods laugh. And then James Woods goes undercover with these two hookers because he's trying to get them to say the right words in order to arrest them. But then what he doesn't plan on is the girls, they run away screaming, rape, rape. And James Woods like, no, 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 I'm a cop, I'm a cop. So he screws things up. But what I mean by that is, again, Burt Reynolds is the only one that got laughs out of me. And when I say he's the only one with heart, there's this kid who's scared, who happens to be gay, and he's been arrested. They don't even say, I don't know if they say why he was arrested. And Ted's like, I don't know why I'm gay. I don't know why this and that. And Bert kind of looks at him and goes, listen, this isn't really my field, but that place you were at, you promise you won't go back there? Okay, I'll let you go. Go ahead. And sadly, we never see Burt Young again. When I thought he was the best part of the movie. And that's what I mean. It's just kind of these random vignettes just happen. And again, some actors disappear for a while. Again, the spoilers. Perry Teen, I think it's James Woods and Dawn Stroud realize that Perry Teen is in this S&M relationship where she whips him. And then Dawn Stroud talks like an asshole to Perry Teen, so he gets embarrassed and sad. And then the next thing you know, we hear that Perry Teen has shot himself, killed himself. At least Dawn Stroud feels sad and guilty about it, but there's no conversation about it. As in, there's no... James Woods wants to discuss it, Dawn Stroud doesn't. I was waiting for this Dawn guy to go, it's my fault, it's my fault. Like, you can tell he feels guilty. You can tell he's on nerves, but he doesn't tell anybody what he did, that it's my fault. And I'm sitting there going, again, imagine the stuff I'm describing trying to be put into a Police Academy silly movie. It doesn't work. Imagine in the middle of Police Academy 3 or 2, after they do things with the eyebrows on the... I forget the guy's name. Then all of a sudden, like... Or Proctor. Imagine Proctor going to that... But then he feels, well, maybe I could be gay or not. But then he, Mahoney, Steve Bloomberg gives him gruff, a smart ass, as he is. And then you find out Proctor killed himself. Yep, he ended his life. You see how that doesn't work with tone? I mean, the actor, like Charles Durning, he's grumpy for the whole time. And he's got about 6 months from pension. And he's always grumpy. Gossett Jr., he's at the beginning of the film, then he's at the ending of the film. And he doesn't really have much to do. Stephen Mott, pretty much the same. He's at the beginning, he's at the end of the film. The James Woods, he has a bit more to do. I mean, I guess I could say he's not a bad guy. He doesn't really do anything that bad in the film. And I love James Woods, it's just... I'll take that in a minute. Randy Quaid, he lets his partner Roscoe do anything he wants, and the fact that Randy Quaid's character doesn't do anything to stop or to tell anyone about that jumper, it makes me not give a shit about Randy Quaid's character. Who else? Perry Teen, he takes his own life. Like I said, Burt Young, we see him for a bit, then for the third act, he's gone. Because I guess he works at another precinct, whatever. I wish he was in more of the film. And then... God, there was something I was going to say. Of course, Roscoe is a piece of trash person. Oh, the reason they're called the Choirboys. Why is the movie called the Choirboys? Because once in a while they go to the park and they play pranks on each other. But you only see that once. Well, including the ending or the beginning. Twice, technically. Twice. You think for what they're called the Choirboys, you don't really see the group together a ton. It's like you see them a little bit, then they split off doing their own different things. That not much of it is funny. Just mean-spirited, awful people. It makes cops look like shit. Hell, it makes the cops at Police Academy look like stand-up citizens compared to these guys. And the one time they're at the park, they tie the racist asshole to a tree with handcuffs. They leave him alone for a while with his pants down, his ass hanging out. This guy that's like the most stereotypical gay guy. He's got like a pink poodle. He's limp wristed. Oh my god, the naked man in the park. Calls him names. Oh, you seem so rough. I should take you home. And again, the most stereotypical gay guy you will see in a fucking movie. Again, even with a pink fucking poodle. So the guy says all these uh, terrible remarks about gay people, scares the guy off. The other guys hear him yelling, they uncuff him, and then he goes to the pond and shoots ducks, or shooting at ducks. And then the second time, the heavy spoilers, this horrendous third act definitely killed the movie for me. Immoral. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. I don't know what this director or what these actors were thinking signing up to this. It is such a waste of a hell of a cast on this dog shit script. If you read the book, you can let me know if the book was better than this. I know the guy who wrote the book was pissed at this movie. I wouldn't blame him. But what happens is, so the second time they're at the park, they're playing a prank. This is after Peritine has passed. Roscoe says some dumb shit about him, and Don Stroud, this guy with the glasses, he tries to beat the shit out of him. They all get drunk. He passes out in the back of a vehicle. Roscoe shuts the truck. James Woods finds out and goes, he's not locked in, is he? Because the very first scene in the movie is James Woods and that guy Don Stroud in Vietnam, hiding in a cave. And you're first wondering, why is this in the movie? Well, this is why. Because Don Stroud is having PTSD. He's freaking out. He opens up the door, and that kid who Burt Young told to leave, the gay kid, he opened up the doors, wondering what was going on, got shot in the throat. Because Don Stroud's going crazy. So the kid dies. They are ready to cover it up. James Woods like, listen, you guys go. I'll tell him I was here with him. Then Charles Durning is going to take the fall. They're like, no, you can't. Your pension is close. And to be fair, Charles Durning didn't do anything. But the fact that they're all covering it up makes them horrible. You're still covering up a crime. It happened. I'm sorry Don Stroud had PTSD, but it happened. This innocent person died. You're covering it up. Does that make you the good guys? So then the police captain, who honestly is in the right, but the movie makes it seem like he's in the wrong. It makes it seem like he's the bad guys in Police Academy. I cannot remember his damn name. Their damn name. Proctor, you know. No. The police captain's right. Someone died. I need to find out who the hell did this. So Charles Durning, I guess, takes the fall. By doing it, he gets his pension. He's gone 6 months. And it's lied about in the paper. But Charles Durning gets pissed because the other guys, you know what they got for punishment? Like a 6-month suspension. So they're not fired. They got suspension. I think they even say it was a paid. I can't remember. That's when Gossett Jr. finally enters back to the movie, telling Charles Durning about this. They both talk to the captain and saying they need to be off suspension. They need to be in their patrol cars tonight. And I'm going to tell the cops. I'm going to tell the press that you lied to them. Okay, fine, I'll do it. Oh, you guys were bluffing, and Gossett Jr. goes, no. The guys have signed deposition. You go back on their word, they'll tell the press. So then Charles Durning and Louis Gossett Jr., they go out smiling, laughing, giving high fives. And then the end credits is they show each person and their name laughing. I'm like, yeah, you're laughing because you all got away with murder. You all got away with murder. You all covered up a murder of an innocent kid. Roscoe doesn't really get his just desserts. He got beat up a bit at one point, as well as Randy Quaid, but he still didn't get his just desserts. He made a jumper fall. Don Stroud didn't get his just desserts. His stupidity led to Perry Teen ending his life, and then him and Roscoe, their stupidity, or PTSD, whatever, led to an innocent kid getting killed. Charles Durning got his pension. He's away from the force. The men are back on there. He gets no one gets a comeuppance. They all get away with cover-up murder. And we're supposed to like these guys? The movie ends as if we're supposed to be rooting for them. As if we're supposed to be laughing with these characters. As a celebratory event. I mean, if they changed the music and stuff and made it seem like they're laughing and said, yep, they got away with murder and you should be mad about it. You should be unhappy about it. A ballsy filmmaker could do that. It's like, yep, it's a downer ending, but that's not what the director's going for. And he's not the type of guy to be that avant-garde. It's the guy who did The Dirty Dozen. I like The Dirty Dozen, but The Dirty Dozen is not some philosophical movie. It's not what the director's going for. So, you're supposed to be rooting for a group of people that covered up a murder successfully. And this comedy but drama, that the tone shifts so much force it breaks your fucking neck. This is an immoral, shitty movie that's a waste of a good cast. That's not funny because so much of it is mean-spirited. Again, the only person worth the shit character was Burt Young. I wish the entire movie was from his point of view. An outsider looking at this, and he has his fun, he has his sense of humor, but he's on the right path. If it turned to a third act where Burt Young had to face these guys, kind of like Dirty Harry, I think you misjudged me. Man's got to know his limitations. Like Magnum Force, maybe it would have made a better movie. But that's not the case here. So I can see why the writer of the book was pissed off with this movie. Waste of a good cast. Waste of a good cast. Holy shit, balls of fire. Fuck. If I remember, that's what I'm going to put. It's a waste of a good cast. I just see why this gets low markings with that cast. Jesus. Again, the people, like, obviously the actors read the script. What were they thinking? What were you guys thinking? What did you think this film was going to be? With that said, this film sucks. Again, I already said, there's no plot, immoral ending, just completely deaf to what's going on, dumbstruck and deaf to its own immoral leanings. This is a movie that you watch, you will go, fuck the police. I said, fuck the police. I said, fuck them. Cue Ice-T, Cop Killer. Where the fuck that song was. Jesus. Makes cops look the worst in this movie. Again, Police Academy is more of a badge of honor than this shit. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.